Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our malicious compliance. It doesn't pay to snoop, then accuse the boss. First, some background. I own a tanning salon, and it is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. There are usually 5 to 6 girls working part-time there, and the pay is $12 an hour plus cash commissions on the things they sell, packages, lotions. It's worth noting that it's a small non-chain business in a college town. All of the paychecks are kept in a drawer, in individual envelopes with the employees' names on them taped shut. They pick up their envelope on payday, and it has worked well except for one instance. One employee decided to open everyone's envelopes to see their pay, and she was livid that one girl was getting paid $2 more an hour. Instead of just asking me about it, she decided to blast the employee group chat and accuse me of ripping them off, etc. Before you think the same thing, it's worth noting again that this is a college town with all college-age workers. Which for my particular salon it has meant it's very hard to consistently have someone who wants to close weekends. They are all usually going home, have plans, want to study, etc. I try to be super accommodating, and I work around everyone's schedules to the best of my ability. If someone says they cannot work, I do not ask questions, I just accept it and plan accordingly. So, the reason this girl made a little extra was because she offered to close both days every weekend because she didn't mind. She didn't want as many week hours, so I offered to pay her a little extra because it was so difficult a lot of the times to schedule that. Plus those 2 days can be a little slow, so commissions are usually not as good. I guess the girl who snooped never bothered to look at the schedule to see if there was maybe a reason that girl made a little more, even though she really didn't because she worked so few hours. Cue malicious compliance. I explained the situation to all of the girls. I told the snooper that since she was right, totally a rip-off, I would make sure to fix it. I started scheduling both the snooper and my weekend closer every weekend night for the next 3 weeks. I really only needed one person working, but I had done a terrible wrong that needed to be made right. At the extra pay for the snooper, of course. I would have done it longer, but she apologized and said she was totally fine going back to how it was because she wanted her weekends back and the extra pay wasn't worth it. I guess we could have decided that together if she had just talked to me in the first place instead of jumping to conclusions. Next story. My cat asked for it. About 20 years ago, I had an orange cat that I would give the water out of the tuna fish can every day. Every time he heard the can opener, he would come beg for the tuna water. One day, my boyfriend at the time asked me to open a can of spinach, drain it, and bring it to him. Well, my cat heard the can opener and was begging for the water. I kept telling him it's not what he wants, then he reached up and scratched my leg thinking I wasn't going to give him the water. I said alright and poured the spinach water in his bowl and dove into it and came out sputtering and gave me a look that meant I should be dead. I said I told you you wouldn't like it. I gave the can of spinach to my boyfriend, then he asked for another one. My cat heard the can opener again and thought it was tuna. This time he was even more aggressive and was really scratching my leg, so I gave him the spinach water again, and he dove into again and came up choking. He gave me the nastiest looks. Next story. Stay in my lane? Okay, but it'll cost you. A few years ago I was the primary faculty advisor and chair for admissions to a highly competitive health science program at a small public college. While that may sound impressive, it's basically a way of saying I was the lowest on the totem pole, but had all of the responsibility overseeing admissions for this program. In order to try and make the department even stronger, they added a new degree option to that health science program that largely overlapped with existing classes. In fact, the only change they had to make was to add one 8-credit-hour course to make the new degree option. Since I was so low on the totem pole, I had no part in the process for this, but as the loan advisor, I had to learn all of the ins and outs of it so I could advise students and potential applicants. Because of this, I found a problem where the new class was added to the course schedule and added to the college catalog, but it was not officially added to the new major. This would cause trouble for financial aid and, down the road, when they apply for graduation. It may seem like a small thing, but if it's not officially required for the major, financial aid won't pay for it. I pointed this out to my supervisor, who thanked me for catching it and asked me to inquire about how we correct this. So I sent an email to someone, middle management, who might be able to help, asking questions and proposing possible short-term solutions until the curriculum committee could meet to make the changes official. After the email, there was silence for a week. Therefore, I sent a follow-up email. The next morning I received an email from one of the VPs, chewing me out for overstepping my bounds, trying to make changes I didn't have authority to make, and a reminder that they know how to do their jobs and that I was expected to stay in my lane. This email included my supervisor, multiple deans, 2 department heads, and another VP. Fine. I dropped it. I was already looking for other jobs, and ended up leaving the following year, so what do I care? Fast forward 3 months, we were about 10 days away from this new class starting with the first cohort of 10 students in this new degree, and I started getting phone calls and emails from all over the place. The problem I pointed out still hadn't been fixed. Now the financial aid and registrar's offices are dealing with angry students who just found out each will have to pay for an 8-credit class out of pocket. Both departments were reaching out to me asking for help to get this fixed before the VP found out about it. I just forwarded the email I received from the VP with a message that I was instructed to stay out of this and that their bosses were aware that I was not to be involved. It's officially not my problem. And to anyone who might say I should have helped and not screwed over the students. You're right. Unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing I can do at that point. That's why I tried to address it months ago, when I could have helped. The proper way to make this happen involves making the proposed changes to a committee. Then those changes would have to be approved by the executive board. For various reasons, this could not happen between then and the start of the class. So the VP contacted the state chancellor's office to see what kind of workaround the state would approve to get this done now. However, the college was denied any exceptions. In the end, the college ended up having to swallow the cost of this course for all 10 students. I don't remember how much it was, but it was no less than $25,000. Next story. We have removed the toilet from the storage closet. I work in a highly regulated industry. The town has rules, the state has rules, we have independent certifications to maintain, and corporate oversight. I hate bureaucracy and being told what to do, so there's a bit of poor fit there, to be honest. Anyway, we had a bathroom that was in a weird spot and had some layout issues too, so it was never used. There were 2 others 15 feet away. We didn't use or need it, but we did need storage space badly. So, we put a lock on the door and stored stuff in there. The bathroom wasn't needed for town rules, the state didn't care, we didn't need it to maintain our certifications, but corporate HQ had a rule that you couldn't store things in a bathroom. Good idea. That could be gross. But we locked it up and it's not used as a bathroom. No one can even get in there. Too bad, we are cited for breaking the rules and have to provide evidence to HQ that we have resolved this horrible failure. We are annoyed that no one can get their heads out of their butts to see that it makes no sense. So I called our plumbers. Compliance letter sent. The toilet has been removed from the storage closet. Next story. It's not your job to answer the phone? Well, I guess it's not my job to answer questions on your behalf. So I work at a tattoo/piercing shop. I'm brand new to this shop and the following happened between my other 2 co-workers, one who was an artist and the other is the piercer. On this particular day it's only the 3 of us at the shop, it's also my first week so I'm just meeting my co-workers. For a long time the shop ran without a front desk person, they eventually hired someone and just recently decided to only have someone during the weekend. This is all new to everyone, apparently, and I'm also new to the shop so I'm just going with the flow. Unbeknownst to me, the piercer and artist had a conversation first thing in the morning. I think I was in my booth and heard of this story later on in the week, went along the lines of, it's BS that we don't have a front desk person. Yeah, but it's fine, we are capable of attending people as they come in. Well, it's not my job to greet people or answer the phone. Don't expect me to take any calls. Okay, bet. Then don't. The rest of the day the artist took the phone and answered every single call. Now this is a busy street shop, particularly for piercings, so majority of the calls are questions related to piercings. So every call the artist took about piercings he'd say, well, that's a piercer questions and I don't answer those, so I guess you have to come in and find out. All day long. At some point he had to leave for 15 minutes and handed me the phone giving me specific introductions to not answer anything about piercings. I was like, okay? But did what I was told. LOL, I found it strange but also didn't question it. The piercer just sat in his station the entire day and sulked. The next day, the owner was in and the piercer had a 180 change in attitude about answering the phone and not having a receptionist. He started answering calls lol. Next story. Self-scanner usage. I was shopping at a large home improvement store a few years ago. Think of a place with orange signage. They used to have a particularly nasty woman who worked by the checkouts. You could tell she thought we were all stupid and beneath her. It was very early on a Sunday morning and I had a cart full of assorted items. I knew some of the items wouldn't scan. The only thing open were the 4 self-service registers. I asked the woman if I could get some help because I knew something wouldn't scan. She didn't even look up from what she is doing and in the most condescending voice possible said, "All you have to do is run it over the scanner. Just scan it." I scanned my small bag of grass seed. I scanned my bottle of plant food. I scanned the new igniter kit for my grill. Then I grabbed one of the landscaping pavers and plopped it down on the scanner glass. The sound coming from the machine would seem to indicate it wasn't scanning. I flipped it over and tried the other side. The scanner made more protesting noises. Now I had every employee in the area over trying to help me. Of course, the manager came over and they were trying to make a huge scene. There was another customer who was standing right there who called out the employee and said she was very rude to me when I asked for help and said I was following her instructions perfectly. Needless to say, I left with all my stuff. I don't know how long self-serve number 3 was out of commission. It was still closed the next weekend. I never saw that employee there again. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.